Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. Yes, it's 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 6, and it's the Tell-All Part 2. And today it's the one you've all been waiting for. We're going to be talking about Riley and Violet. And we're going to be discussing, of course, Violet's pregnancy. Now guys, as far as I'm concerned, Riley and Violet's relationship is most probably the reason that aliens don't visit planet Earth. I believe they can't deal with that level of toxicity. But I do have to admit, it's been one of the most, intriguing relationships of this season. What do they see in each other? What do they have in common? Do they even like each other? And if so, why? But the biggest question of all is what exactly happened with Violet's pregnancy. But before we get into all of that, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and press the notification bell and all of that good stuff. And if you know anybody who would enjoy my acerbic wit, please don't forget to share the video on your social media. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that subscribed to my channel this season. My numbers are doing really well, so I really genuinely appreciate it. Thanks guys. Right, so without further ado, I give you Riley and Violet. Guys, when Shaun introduced this couple, she actually said the elephant in the room is Violet's pregnancy. I do hope that means, Shaun, that you're not going to give them an easy time on this, and I do hope it means you're going to leave no stone unturned with this story. Guys, I hope it, but I know it not to be true, for it's Shaun, of course. Well, we can only cross our fingers and hope she asks the right questions. So first we take a trip down memory lane, and we see Riley setting Violet up in the restaurant for his friend Tiffany to attack her and haul her over the coals about whether or not she was still on this dating app. Guys, in case you didn't realise, Violet forgot the password. Oh dear. And we also revisit the hoo-ha about the private investigator, the one that never was. Oh good lord, Shaun, you forgot the shirtless guy? Riley's failure to give presents to Violet's mum and whose fault that actually was. Riley being angry that Violet had a job and had to teach whilst he was there. And countless other arguments of an unspecified nature. I feel as if you're selling us short, Shaun. Must try harder. And so first, Shaun picks up Riley on his assertion that it's normal in America to get a private detective to snoop on prospective partners. And she asked if anybody agreed with that, and of course everybody said no, except for Amanda, who said that she thought it was absolutely fine. Riley, when the only person who agrees with you is a criminal, I think it's fair to conclude you're not on the moral high ground. Anyway, Riley just lied his way through it, and he said, no, what I meant is, if you're trying to date someone abroad, it's usual to look into somebody. Riley, it's still not usual if you're dating somebody that you've never met and you've only spoken to on the phone, and you had grave doubts about them. What's normal is to knock them on the head and find somebody else. But Riley's not having any of this, and he defends his position.
In my defense, my main reason for wanting to do it is because she doesn't communicate. She lies. I've caught her in major lies. Not like I think she's lying. I've caught her receipts having lied.
Guys, whenever Riley says something, he hypes himself up, so it seems really true. But let's imagine for 1 second that this is true, and that he's got absolute receipts of when she's lying. Which is interesting if he has, because he's never shown us a single unequivocal receipt. But hey ho, imagine it's true. Then Riley, just don't go. If you know she's a liar, why would you want to bring a liar and her 2 kids over to America for you to support them for the next 6 months or a year whilst they get a green card? Who would do that? But he doesn't ever see the idiocy in his actions. People in the audience are incredulous, not to mention the cast. And Meisha said, if this happened to me, I totally wouldn't be able to continue with this relationship. So Shaun asks the obvious question.
Why didn't you just break off the relationship at that
because
point?
I did break it off, and she went through my family begging them that I contact her.
But you didn't have to, though.
Right, I know I didn't have to, but then you also, when you're in love with the idea of your love, it's hard to let it go.
Oh gosh, there's so much to unpack here. But the very first thing is something which absolutely cracked me up. There's 2 black women in the audience, and they're visibly rolling their eyes and virtually audibly sighing with the idiocy of Riley's reasoning. You guys, TLC are so shady. But also, I can't believe that Riley's actually saying to us, the reason that I couldn't break up with her was because she spoke to my family. Really, Riley? You didn't even know she'd spoken to your dad? Until a couple of weeks before you went out to see her. But even if she had spoken to your family, even if she'd spoken to Jesus Christ himself, you're your own man. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But then I guess he did finally admit that he was in love with the idea of being in love. And guys, I still think he is. I don't know if Violet's lied to him. I do tend to think that Riley's extremely paranoid, but she never seems to give a straight answer quickly, and we'll see that a bit later in this tell-all. But there's one thing which we can all see. Violet doesn't even like you, never mind love you, so give it up, Riley. Forget about it. There are 49.8 million women in Vietnam. Go and find another one. Guys, you just can't help some people. So anyway, next up, Shaun welcomes Riley's friend, or sister depending on which day it is, to the stage, and Tiffany's got just one question.
Well, she never answered why she didn't delete the app. Why didn't you delete the app? I don't understand that.
Okay, I want to explain that.
What? Tiffany, this is none of your goddamn business. That said, it looked for all the world as if Violet was shaping up for yet another lie. I can always tell when Violet's lying, her mouth's moving. So she trotted out the same old line that she didn't know how to delete the app. She removed it from her phone, but she couldn't delete her account online. But Riley explained, under some questioning from Shady Shaun, that Violet was active just a few hours before. And realistically, Violet, if you were deleting your account, he wouldn't have known when you were active because it would have been gone. Now guys, I think this is a big red flag for Violet. It quite simply says to me, quite the obstinate liar. Because most people by this point would just offer what the reality was. Riley, I didn't really know you. I agreed to come off the app, but I had no intention of doing so until our relationship was further down the line. And I think most people would kind of understand that, even if they thought she was wrong for agreeing to it in the first place. But what's very sinister about Violet is that she continues to lie in the face of, well, incontrovertible evidence. It's really quite strange. And guys, I hate to give any sort of props at all to Jasmine, but in this tell-all, she really was speaking the truth. If only she could be this reasonable and this measured all the time.
Let me tell you something. I've been in online dating, and whenever I have met someone online and I'm not interested in that person, I keep my app because I want to keep my options open.
Do you think that Violet was keeping her possibilities open?
Absolutely, yes.
And guys, it would seem that the rest of the cast agree. But Violet's still sticking to the bullshit. Guys, she really is a problem child. Anyway, enough of all this. Let's get to the exciting part. Violet's pregnancy.
Well, when Riley returned to America, it seemed like their relationship had come to an end, but only days later, Violet told Riley she was pregnant.
So yes, guys, this was right at the end of the season, and we've yet to cover it. But apparently the story goes something like this. On Riley's penultimate day, in the evening, after filming, Violet doubled back, knocked on Riley's door, and they spent the night together, and guys, apparently they did the deed. And apparently neither one of them said anything because Violet asked Riley not to mention it. But then a couple of weeks after Riley returned home, Violet called Riley, and she let him know that she was pregnant. Although she didn't let him know if it was his baby or the shirtless guy's. My money's on the shirtless guy. And the truth be told, Riley's money's on the shirtless guy as well, and here's why.
Because of the medication I am on, it's a less than 1% chance. Being that I'm on this medication, less than 1% chance that I can conceive. I told her, I said, listen, I'll support you. Whatever you want to do, let's go and confirm this and, get the test so I could get the results so I could understand what's going on.
Right.
I've got to admit, if Riley's only got a 1% chance of getting somebody pregnant because of the medication he's on, and he and Violet only slept together once, I understand his scepticism in imagining that this child is his. I'm sorry to say it, but I do. So anyway, according to Riley, he got this international doctor, but Violet refused to go to see this doctor, and she tells Shaun later that it was because she's got her own doctor and she trusts him or her. But then Riley said that Violet asked him to ask her to get married. And as he's telling Tiffany, she's shaking her head and you can tell what she thinks. It's all a load of horse shit. But once again, Jasmine, come through, baby girl, come through.
You have all this suspicious about the person you're dating, you don't trust, and you are having sex, unprotected sex?
It was the last night I was there. We could not get along. I did not expect her to come there. I didn't expect that to happen. She showed up on her own.
Riley, it actually does not matter whether you expected it or not. You already think she's been shagging shirtless guy and God knows who else. Even a child knows to where your well is. Oh Lord. But then guys, Violet started crying and she grabbed a tissue and put it to her face. And she started sobbing. But Riley back in the studio said, what I'm saying is there's science and there's miracles. And I get what he's saying because if it genuinely is a 1% chance, and then we add that to the fact that Violet is either 42 or 43, which I think is a very minimal chance of her getting pregnant as well, I understand where his suspicions lie. So Shaun asked Violet for her side of the story, and she said her period didn't come, she thought she was pregnant, and she did a pregnancy test and it came up positive. She apparently did another one in front of Riley, and that too came up positive. But she said he asked her to go to an international hospital, and she said it's so expensive because I'm a teacher, I can't afford it. Riley countered with the fact, and unfortunately, for once I believe Riley, that he put his credit card on file there and any charges were to go straight through to him. Now if he thought he was having a miracle child, I can see him doing this, I really can. If he was going to be budget about things, he'd just say, well, let's wait until the baby comes, and if it turns out to be, well, mixed race, or to look like me, then we'll do a paternity test. And if that comes through, then I'll start the payments. That's what he would have said if he was being frugal. And Shaun asked Riley what exactly his concerns were.
So you didn't believe the timeline.
I didn't believe the timeline and that it was me.
What do you think her ultimate goal would have been to lie about you being the father?
I feel, and it's just my opinion, that she didn't like me so easily to walk away from it. When she was like, she wanted me to chase her and fight for her.
Oh dear. So in addition to the 1% chance of him getting someone pregnant, none of the dates lined up either. But what he said to Shaun was very interesting when he said, I think she's lying because she wanted me to chase her. That shows that he doesn't even think that she was pregnant. Never mind the fact that it might not be his. I think he doubts the fact there was a pregnancy in the first instance. But guys, then a very tearful Violet lets everybody know that she unfortunately lost the child, and she said her health isn't good, and also her age played a part as well. And Tiffany and everyone else on the stage looked visibly upset, but Riley was shaking his head, and he still doesn't really believe that she was pregnant.
How does it feel seeing Violet so upset right now?
I hate that I feel this way, but I'm kind of like, until I understand, I can't really emotionally attach to it.
But Tiffany says that she feels sorry for Violet, and she says as women, we all go through different things. And she said, the timelines weren't so off, Riley, it could have been your child. And Violet then says she feels much lighter having shared the story with everyone, and she's still visibly upset. And Shaun asks what's next for the couple. And good lord guys, Riley then says she's coming over to America. She's got a tourist visa, and although he says he has nothing to do with it, they're going to meet up. And when Shaun asks him, is there a possibility of you getting back together? He fudges around and refuses to answer. And so Tiffany answers for him, and she said, I can just see it, because these guys go back and forth. And Shaun said to Riley, are you leaving the door open? And Tiffany jumped in again and said, wide open, windows open, doors open, French doors open. And Riley meekly said, there's a possibility. Guys, these Peregrines are going to get back together. I can just see it. And that's where we end things for this season. So what does the Ebird make to all of this? Well, I think on reflection, these two shouldn't meet up again. I think this relationship is toxic beyond belief. Riley doesn't believe a word Violet says. Violet, for her part, does seem like she's, well, quite often not telling the truth. She always has these long pauses before she gives any answer. With regard to the pregnancy, who knows? I'd never be the one to call somebody a liar if they've lost a baby. But I will say that I do understand why Riley is somewhat sceptical. But the final word goes to Jasmine. She's on the money when she says, why are you going abroad and sleeping with somebody that you've known for 2 weeks that you don't trust? Unprotected. And guys, that's the word. So I'd love to know what you think about this couple down below in comments. Do you think there's any chance this couple will get back together? And if so, is there any chance that Riley will ever trust Violet? Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And if you've enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.